The enhancement of your perception is about the awareness, and that awareness prevails across any time and space. It goes beyond the space reality because the awareness is infinite, because the neurons in this body, which always are in communication with the cells, has the brain waves which is always operational, even when you are fast asleep. Your brain is functioning through your breath. Somehow it impacts your cellular memory, which is entrapped in this body. One of the treasure of meditation is about not getting impacted by words. Whenever someone comes to you and says something, it does not have to make that impact on you at all. And it can happen just by creating a few layer of filtration. So when you get back home and you have a family member and at times you get into argument, their words trigger you. Their words trigger you in a certain way. At times it really hurt you. Who knows, the person takes you for granted and can say whatever he or she wants to say. And those string of words or sentences do impact you deeply and you feel hurt. And you feel at times depleted by the time you get to work and you have all those things playing at the back of your head. So what happens in meditation, you actually choose to listen to people deeply without having to give much of importance to the sounds they make. Now, it doesn't make sense to you, or it may make sense to you, but let me clarify it again. It is like someone is trying to throw a burning coal at you. The first person who is going to get burnt is the one who is holding it. It happens. So you got to understand the vantage point from others as where they are coming from. And as you are able to gaze through, just by having your presence there and then, you would exactly know how to behave most wisely at that point in time, under that tragic circumstance, or someone is trying to provoke you to say something. So in meditation, what happens is, once you are at a certain level of frequency, because these cells are kind of communicating through everything that is around you. If these cells are opened up, or let's say they are optimized, your mental waves begin to shift and start behaving a bit differently. It happens in meditation. Your mental waves are the real gem of your well-being. I repeat myself, your mental waves which you are exuding at any point in time, without you being aware about it, are creating your destiny across any time and space reality, because they are speaking with the power, with what permeates here. So whatever I believe in right now as I speak to you, it is getting into my cellular memory, and this is what is creating my future. This is exactly how I'm behaving. So if you look at the neurons in the body, which actually are responsible for your cells getting activated and making you behave in a certain way, can actually be regulated with your breath. It is actually the understanding and the level of perspicacity with which you have to attune your cellular memory at all times. It's like you are very alert at the same time very calm. This happens only once you have optimized your perceptual understanding. And some of them have done extremely well in this field, and therefore have resulted their company into $1 billion, into $1 trillion, because they now are able to understand the mindset of the masses. And they create product which can cater to 80% of the marketplace. They create products which are consumed by 80% are not that highly affluent. But those 20% people, let's say that, they have optimized their perception to a level where they can actually impact you. They can actually create that level where you are influenced by what you see, what you hear, repeatedly over and over again, to create a notion that this is how it is. But that could not be the case, by the way. It is so powerful. I'm not asking you to reach there, but at least if you are aware who is doing what, in what way, you would be more of a sage person, wouldn't you be? You would make more wise decision in your life, wouldn't you? So it is all about equipping yourself, like you are enabling yourself to become more conscious. At the same time, very calm. And it happens in sadhana. Most of us are impacted by those sounds which are being generated, spoken by the ones whom we love the most, because they are the ones responsible to hurt us the most. And if they speak anything that is not aligned, we feel hurt. If the other person speaks, it doesn't matter anyway. You can just brush them aside. If it impacts you, and if you are vulnerable and react emotionally or compulsively on impulses of your emotions, which are nothing but the cellular memory entrapped, then you are gone. The relationship would not work. At a workplace, you would speak something that you shouldn't. It will kind of put you on the verge of destroying your own personal life. So what happens is, once you create that filter, you are actually conscious of everything. You complain the least and perform in the most optimal way. And it can happen. The science of East, the culture that we come from, talks about the same thing. Bhadram karne bihi shrunayama deva bhadram pashyemah savaryajatraha sthirai rangahetushtvagvam sastanurvirvyashemahe devahidam yadayah. So if you look at the Vedas, actually, they kind of decoded the entire concept of the universe. And it happened when there was no structured religion per se, because there was no religion. Religion is made because people do not follow spirituality in a way. We are all conscious beings. We all are conscious beings. It's just that when we lose sight of that, we become religious, because now you have to be documented, like you have to give in a document to follow, because you have not elevated yourself to that level of consciousness. So now there has to be few set of rules and regulations. Something has to be kind of a set of principles have to be indoctrinated within you to kind of follow a pattern, because you are not aware about it. At times for that person it could be termed as superstitious or prejudiced or biased by one's philosophy. But that has come about because one could not understand. Like a child is here, and if there is a knife around, of course an infant should not be around a knife. You know that's dangerous for him. He can hurt himself. She can hurt herself. But again, you put the knife away. So you create these documents of certain beliefs according to the geography that we live in. And it changes according to time and space reality. We are here today. Maybe 20 years down the line or 40 years down the line, everything changes. The atmosphere changes, people changes, everything changes. But what remains eternal is that ignition, the presence of the self. And this presence of yourself is so powerful, it can actually impact everything about yourself. And meditation is about that. It's not about choosing a very isolated place, secluded area from your home, and sitting in sadhana and dhyan and feeling calm and all of that. This is what you understand by meditation, that you have no responsibilities. Maybe it is for the older people. They don't have much to do in life, so they will do meditation. In fact, it is just the other way around. Just the opposite. You should have more challenges in life, and that's how we can grow. And if you are not able to make sense of the chaos that we are going through, there will never be a perfect order in your life. If you are looking for perfect order, like this is how it should be like, it can only come about from the chaos that you are struggling with right now at this point in time. It will not be the other way around. If something does not make sense to you and you have been grappling with it, you have no idea, you can't make a head and tail of it, the only way you can actually do it is by transforming yourself, by transmuting your energy and your feeling for something that you may not have explored as of now. And you have that possibility to explore it right here now. It can happen in meditation. That's why we internalize the experiences and transmute based on intellect, not by some wave of fleeting emotions. Never. That's why there are people out there at the top who are so successful. They also struggled with the same thing as we may have been struggling right now, but they made something really significant out of it and made their life an epitome of success, which inspires so many of us. How does it happen? They have got two eyes, the same sun, the same moon, everything is the same. The entire galaxies of the universe exactly is same for each one of us. But one is not able to actually make sense of it, understand it, because one has to be subtle in the approach. And it has nothing to do with any religion, caste, creed, color, nationality, ethnicity. No, it is just the awakening of the self within. That is good enough, sufficient. Your presence is sufficient enough to deal with what you are dealing with. Otherwise, you would not be facing at the first place. You would never be faced with the challenges that you cannot overcome. That's how the universe is made. That's how you are given that setup within you, the mechanism within which you know that you are sufficient enough to overcome them. And it happens. It's just that it does require a bit of a spark within you, and it can happen right there and then. We are in that sphere of change and the gamut of change that could actually be tapped by your awareness, being in the establishment of the self. It can happen. Because it is not about just saying, actually, you become the example through your work before you utter the word. And that's how you can begin the transformation in your life, by becoming the version that you talk about, that you preach. That's why we say in our philosophy, be the change that you seek in others, that you want to see in the world.